with possible weirdness. And John knows weirdness. John relates a favorite Halloween experience from his life in Sonoma County, California. Presenting What is Halloween Without a Few Scares? A cat story. Please welcome up John Mason.
Has anybody here ever celebrated Halloween? Did anybody ever enjoy going out on Halloween and you were in costume and you were acting a little bit weird? People might meet you at the door and they were doing weird things. You get candy in you, you go home, you're really weird. Your parents don't know what's happened. Does anybody have Halloween stories like that? So, of course. The part of Halloween is that it's supposed to mix it up. You're supposed to do something a little bit strange. When you're a child, part of the excitement is to go dip into the dark and the unknown. But that's not what the story is about. How many people here have ever owned a cat, seen a cat, had a cat, liked a cat, didn't like a cat? Okay, enough said. There was a time in our life, and some of you have the pictures and you might want to circulate them around. There was a time in my life when we had a couple of kids at home. We celebrated Halloween in kind of a big way. It was a nice event, right? We also had 4 cats at home. 4 cats. So let's start with the cat story, all right? We had a white cat named Cato. Cato was named after the Cato and Clouseau. You know, what was it? The Pink Panther, what's his name? And it was funny. And he was not the smartest cat around. Has anybody ever seen a dumb cat? Okay, this cat was as dumb as a bag of hammers. I'm going to make a point about that because you don't know how cats are. I mean, some cats are hunters, some cats are sophisticated. This cat wasn't too bright. We had a neighbor who was not a nice man. He was kind of an angry guy. In fact, I'm not being judgmental, but when I looked it up in the dictionary and I was looking up the words stupid, repugnant, horrible neighbors, his picture was there. Not a judgment, it was in the dictionary. He was the kind of guy that would trap neighbors' cats, right? Have you ever had a neighbor like that? Maybe you were a neighbor like that. So, we don't know where Cato went. Where did Cato go? We got a call from the pound. Oh, by the way, we have your cat. Okay, well, he's not that smart. How did it happen? You go down there and the guy says, oh, that neighbor of yours, he's famous for trapping cats. But once a cat's been in a trap, they never do that ever again. Don't worry about it. At which point I put down the cat carrier on the desk and the cat walked right in. The guy looked at me and he looked at the cat and he said, when he calls me the next time, I'll just bring it straight over to your house. It wasn't a smart cat. Now this cat was the kind of cat that would, to get your attention, he liked to bump up into the back of your leg, right? And he was an outdoor cat, so when we went outside there was a lot of bumping and not really falling down, but there was some bumping going on. He also liked to sit on the back shed up there so he could look over into the 4 neighbors' yards. And he was on top of everything, as some cats like to do. But when you do this in California year after year, this isn't necessarily a thing that you're not going to have an impact of. He was a white cat, and what you may not know is white cats have very sensitive skin, and they're subject to getting skin cancer from being out in the sun too much. So, 6 or 7 years into the deal, his ears are looking kind of funky, and we say, oh, this isn't good. We take him to the vet, and the vet says, he's got skin cancer on his ears. And I said, you wonder where I'm going? We're going to get back to Halloween in a minute. But he says, well, what do you do with that? He says, well, we need to take those ears off. What? A couple $100 later, I bring him home from the vet. His head is shaved. He has this white spot, little black spot, looks like a mohawk, right? Standing straight up. Shaved head, no ears. He is ugly. He looks like something from E.T., from one of that bar in Star Wars. He would have upset people, okay? I bring him home. My wife looks at him. Her eyes get this big. The kid runs behind my wife and goes. It was pathetic. It was really sad. And yet we all kind of recovered from that. Now, where this all ties together is that Halloween in our neighborhood, there was a lot of kids that would come out after dark. There was a big, what is this word? Umbrageous tree that was out in our front yard. And it had rained down a lot of leaves, as they tend to do in the fall. And the house was looking kind of spooky. We had some jack-o'-lanterns out there and things like that. And it's dark, and I love Halloween because it's a great time to scare kids. And it's all part of the deal, because I think that's what they sign up. So what happened is Cato the cat, who had a tendency to want to be outside and get attention, found his way onto the driveway out in front of the house, right? And the little kids would come up, the little princesses and the little fairies and the little Supermen and stuff like that. And Cato would come right up and start bumping them like Cato was kind of tendency to do. And they would look at him and their little eyes would get this big. And they said, "There's something wrong with this cat." And indeed, there was. I mean, for a lot of reasons. He's not smart and he doesn't have any ears at this point. He's kind of ugly. And the little children would then proceed up to the house like this. Now they're terrified. This is the part my wife really hated. They would come to the door and they said, "What happened to your cat?" And naturally, I would give them an explanation. I said things like, "Oh, I got bored one week and decided to cut him off." That upset a lot of children and really upset my wife. It was such good fun. So, the moral of this story is, because Halloween is exciting, sometimes people get a little tense and a little nervous. It's part of the deal. But the important thing is that no matter what happens to you in life, no matter what life throws at you, it could be a physical thing, it could be an emotional thing, it could be a financial thing, you can still function without ears. And it doesn't make you any smarter to lose your ears in those situations. That's the moral of my story. I turn it back over to our Toastmaster. Thank you very much.